This is the Blank Dive Show. For creators who don't wait for clarity, they move anyway. This isn't about perfection. It's pressure, doubt, deadlines, and building something real with limited resources. It's about momentum when motivation runs out, mindset when the noise gets loud, and making the work, especially when it's uncomfortable. Through raw conversations with filmmakers, writers, musicians, artists, and curators, we talk about showing up, breaking barriers, and turning ideas into action. This is the dive into the unknown, no permission, no safety net, just the work.
Yo.
Episode 6.
Yeah.
What do we got tonight, people? What do we got?
Oh my God.
Is this legal?
Is it legal or is it not?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Don't call the police on me, please.
Please don't do that. Wait a minute.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. As an artist, I think we can all relate to this statement here. Many times as an artist, we always sit there and ponder, should we just ask for forgiveness or ask for permission? What is it going to be? And a lot of times, in order to get your work out there, it's just easier to ask for forgiveness. Like, I'm sorry, won't do that again.
The truth.
But oh boy, has it been a challenging and often a terrifying journey into the unknown. I know both of you can relate because we've both been in similar situations on different productions where we are necessarily in places that we don't necessarily have the permits to be in or are completely unsafe.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, man. I mean, look at my last music video, man. I mean, we were out in Monticello, and we were looking for a location to shoot my music video because I was just dropping an album, and we're looking for a location, but we went by this location. It was kind of buried in the wood line, and we kept seeing people back there, so we kind of had to circle the block a couple times until those people left. And we didn't have permission to go back there, and we probably would have gotten in trouble if the police did show up or the owners of the property. But we walked in there, just for a clip of the music video, the building was collapsing. And you're talking about trying to you're trying to spit your lines, you know what I mean? You're trying to get it right, and you only have so much time because the police will show up. And the amount of anxiety, sometimes I wonder, how we even do it at times, man, because it was that I think was one of the more stressful things I've ever done, recording music. It was extremely stressful, and we went from there into a cemetery next. That was also I have no idea if that's legal. I mean, I felt really strange about it, you know what I mean? Because you got people visiting their family, dude, that just they're getting buried, and I'm over in the corner somewhere spitting lines.
It's funny that you brought that up. There's so many moral conundrums that happen, and that's I'm not gonna lie. I filmed in a cemetery multiple times for music videos, for short films, for feature films. It's just it's a part of life. And I guess if I was to die, I'd be happy. I guess if I was to die, when I'm to die, I would hope people are spitting, not literally spitting on my grave, but spitting on my grave, saying some real shit, some Tupac shit. I don't want to hear no mumble rap on my grave. Leave that shit behind.
Yeah.
All right. But either way, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I would respect the art form a little bit, but I definitely understand what you're saying because we were we did a short film, Lovelock. In the intro of the movie, the character wakes in a graveyard, and we actually filmed near someone I know's, plot and, site. and we try to do it as respectful as possible. But in the distance, there was literally like grave diggers.
Ooh.
And like,
oh, man,
we were like,
Scared.
like it was just like it was a messed up situation, and like we had to question ourselves. We try to get out of there as soon as possible and be respectful. But the one thing that I think made everything a little better is we, approached, not it was we weren't walking up to mourning families. Like we walked up to talked to them, and they were fine as long as they were in the distance and whatnot. But we also made sure that we talked to the cast and crew to make sure that they were okay with that.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes when you're in these peculiar situations as an artist, but I'm an artist that brings other people along for the ride as a filmmaker, you want to let them know what they're in for. Like, hey guys, I know this really sweet location, it's off the beaten path, but we're doing some guerrilla style filmmaking here, and if you're not down with it, just let me know.
You might go to jail
or die.
There's pros and cons to it. That's the way I looked at it. Like one time, I was doing a comedy show. They asked me to host, and they were like, we're gonna ask all these comedians to come." And I was like, "Are you paying us?" And they were like, "No." And then I was like, "All right." So I did what I wanted to. Did something I wanted to do for the comedians, and I put out a donation thing. So it was scary because if they found out, or if they were like, "No, you can't do that," what would happen? I get kicked off the show or something like that. But they didn't
kick off a show they're not paying you for.
Exactly.
Fuck up out of there.
But it was like, also your reputation's at line. Like, don't work with this guy. He's gonna beg the crowd for money. I was like, I was doing it, and I was giving money to the comedians because they weren't getting paid, and that's just how I felt at the time. But it could be scary sometimes.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Anytime you bend those rules, you just feel like, I always worry about, like I said, that not being upfront with people that are about to do something, because like you might be 10 toes down to like commit a crime. I'm not telling people to commit, like that's not what this episode is about, but there are things like, even if you have permission and permits to be somewhere, that doesn't necessarily mean everything is kosher.
Yeah.
Let me just throw this clip at you real quick, and I want you guys to guess what the issue is once you watch it.
Well, you're the best we have. Who better than you to show him the ropes?
This isn't training or the academy. That ain't in my job description. I got a fucking job to do.
All right, other than the finger that's in the shot, the issue in that scene, did anyone guess it?
I know. I already know what it is.
Yeah, I didn't catch it.
All right, so Andrew is literally about one roll to the left or right from his death. He's literally, there's a hole in the floor, and we didn't know until after we shot it, but there's a piece of plywood with a carpet over the top, almost like a trap floor like they would have in Home Alone. And he's sitting in this chair above it. I only know this because my buddy eBay, who was the assistant director in that film, almost went through the floor. And this is like above a garage we're filming this scene in.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
But we knew this.
But
we knew this.
eBay's like 6'7".
He's a big guy. So like, you know what I mean? We knew this though. It wasn't like we found out and we're like, oh, we got to get out of here. We knew, and we were just like, hey, Andrew, just be careful.
Yeah.
And he's like, Andrew said, what do you mean? I just don't roll back.
Don't move.
Don't breathe, okay, Andrew? Just don't breathe, all right?
Oh,
and that's
man.
kind of how, and it like, as long as you're up front, you understand sometimes, like, it's like some people are going to be total pusses about it. I'm not even going to lie.
Yeah.
We've dealt with that too, where you're up front and people accept it, and then in the moment they puss. You got to understand, like, people do puss, but you got to be 100% with whatever you're asking for as far as a film production. But this goes deeper than film. I know it does. There's a whole psychological part of this, like for you guys, what do you think the benefits are of just going and doing it? If there are any benefits.
I think
you got.
I think I don't know if I brought it up in one of the episodes, but years ago, um, I was approached. I was on, Seneca Street in Buffalo. You know where that is, and WBLK. That's a radio station. One of their buses. Basically, they do like a lot of like I guess broadcasting from it, and they were doing like the whole street, where they approach people on the streets and find artists. Well, they were looking for somebody to put on the radio for a week, and they asked me, if I could spit something, and I did. I had it all up here, I had these lines. I had music, and they asked me, is this all yours, the lyrics and the music? And I told them yes. Well, the lyrics were. I write all my own lyrics, but the music itself wasn't. The music, obviously, it had copyrights on it. It wasn't mine. I would go online and I pulled up beats, so I had to give them that. I spit a line, and then it was the next day I met with it was the guy that was driving the bus for WBLK, and I gave him my album, and it was selected and played for a week, but it would never have gotten played. It was like, I'm not going to say I bent the rules. I straight up lied and told them, yeah, this is all my stuff, and it was never. They never looked into it. It was like I knew like it was going to get denied or they're going to play it, and they ended up playing it. And I was on the radio for a week, and it was like just to get that kind of exposure to me was, it was worth it at the time for me to get that kind of exposure because anybody, any artist would like to be played on the TV or the radio, and it was kind of a big moment. I remember in my younger career, it was pretty sweet, but I don't know. I felt like it worked in my benefit.
I think a lot of musicians do that though. You're not the only one. Like when we think of
No, yeah,
like let's just talk about, we talked about music, but let's just talk about hip hop for a second. Some of Lil Wayne's best catalog was his mixtapes on other people's beats.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
No, he sometimes did it better than the original artist. He often did it better than the original artist,
Oh yeah,
and that's what he's known for.
yeah,
To me, I think he's paying homage to those artists in a way. Even Eminem, in a way, like when you talk about Eminem, there's a lot of times where he will literally spit the flow in a similar cadence of another rapper,
yeah,
paying
for sure.
homage. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's, he plagiarized. He did this. He bent the rules. But I think there's something more to it. There's some artistic merit to it that I think should be explored more. Like creatively, we all talk about the other day, like there's 10 ways to tell a story, the same story.
Yeah.
But we all have like a different approach to it.
Yeah, for sure.
It kind of reminds me though, we talk about this legal stuff, and early in my filmmaking days, I started looking up like contracts online, things that every production should have. And as I got older and I started reflecting on the contracts that I wrote, I realized that there ain't no fucking way these will hold up in court.
Yeah.
Like there was like, okay, so there's an appearance release that every filmmaker needs to have on a production. Everyone that's in your film in front of the camera needs to sign an appearance release. We know that. And then I always took it one step further and I was like, you know what? I also want a confidentiality like waiver. And this basically protects you from people like spilling the beans about your plot, blah, blah, blah. Who am I? They're like going to tell the story of a transcending pictures beyond, you don't believe how this movie ends. Like, who am I? But I had people sign it anyways, because what was happening in my early productions is people would get really, really excited and they would film, like not just take pictures, but they would put their camera on and just film behind the scenes and post it all over their socials. So I would go on there and the entire ending of the movie was like on their social media. So like, even though I'm like, who the fuck am I also didn't want my whole movie filmed and released, or people showing like behind the scenes of like how it's done. Okay, so those are understandable, right? Then I have like, the whole waiver that's basically you understand that you're working voluntarily. Right, so that's a volunteer waiver. We're on the same page here. That makes sense. Like you understand that this is free. That you're going to get credit in the film and you're going to get a copy of it, but this is not paid, and you understand that. Okay. Then I took it another step further, and I was like, yeah, fuck it. Let me just pull up an accident waiver. Let me get one of those bitches. And in the accident waiver, I'm reading it, and it's like literally saying stuff like, if you're like paralyzed and like
Ugh.
the stunts incur death, I'm not responsible.
It's funny because a lot of people signed it.
But that was during COVID too, I think, right?
Oh yeah, and that was another one. COVID, well,
Yeah.
that was an understandable one too, because all the productions at the time during 2020, they had people sign a COVID waiver, basically with an attestation saying that I have not been around someone who had COVID or knowingly had COVID in the last, whatever, 14 days. Because I did film a short film during COVID, and a lot of people thought that was the safer route to go. So I made people sign that during, that COVID years. And I felt good about it because I didn't want people to feel like they were putting themselves in harm's way. But at the same time, the accident waiver, I
Yeah.
think I still have people sign that, but I definitely changed some of the verbiage in it. Like, if you die or something, like we're not liable. It just seems really like soulless. Like, fuck you guys.
It's terrible.
I used to always tell people, like, listen, I'm going to be straight up forward with you. There is no stuntman in this. You are your own stuntman. So if you can't do what the actor does in the film,
Yeah.
you can't be the character. For example, like, it sounds crazy, but I remember I had an actress in a film who, in the role, there's like 3 driving scenes where she's driving her car. And we didn't film those in chronological order. She gets to set and she goes, so who's driving? And I'm like, well, you are. You drive in the scene. She goes, I don't have my license or permit. A lot of people don't that live in like NYC. Like, it's just not a thing you like require. They have their regular ID, but they don't have. I didn't know. That's like a question you have to ask, but at the same time, like, it changed the plot. Like, she
What
didn't
did you
have.
do in that situation?
Well, the main character, she was like, in the situation, the other character was like, you want me to drive? And it was just like, it works, but it kind of gets old if it's her car in the movie because the other guy doesn't have a car. And he's like, hey, baby girl, I'm going to drive your car. It didn't work. It didn't work, but it had to work because she didn't fucking drive. What was I supposed to do?
Yeah, for sure. Man.
It's crazy. You can go anywhere with this stuff. It's absolutely insane.
I don't know. Like,
Also,
go ahead, Benny.
Reposting videos, like, is that stealing? Because like, I repost a video, it might be stealing, but I get a lot of followers. I get a lot of like likes and stuff like that. People are coming to my page now, but for what? For now, I have possibly stolen content on my page. It's like, it's such a weird road to navigate. Like, that's why it's like, is this a law? I know they have terms and agreements, but it's like,
I mean, you're not. It don't seem like you're jacking somebody else's whole content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's people out there that will jack. I watched this one show on YouTube, Victory, and it's just a concrete thing. But some people will jack all of their content, every bit of it, and move it over to their page, and they'll get all these followers. They'll be able to monetize. Like, it's wild to me because I'm like, to me, that is stealing. You're robbing someone else, but at the same time, does it also work in the benefit of the actual creator? Because it draws people attention to that actual creator. But yeah, that's jacking. That's robbing someone's whole system. When you do things like that. But sharing someone's stuff, I think you're helping them.
If you're sharing it, if you're taking it as your own, like, that's that whole.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's because it's their hard work that you're like.
Yes.
I also feel that way too. If people making their own original content, but it's actually taking someone's work. Like, a lot of those are those like prank videos. Like, it's gonna sound crazy, but they're a guilty pleasure of mine. There's a stupid prank guy who, like, he yells in stores But he
Oh
has like
yeah.
he comes in with an entire crew, and they're yelling from different areas. And he's like, "What the fuck was that?" And I think it's hilarious. But
Yeah.
there's like 5 other guys doing it as their own, and I don't
Yeah.
even remember who started it anymore. It's like who did this?
Yeah. Who's the creator of it?
That's a really good point. Like,
Yeah.
people, is it really stealing if I kind of take your idea, but I do it my own way? You know?
I mean that's the thin line right there, because that in itself could be you were inspired by them, because we're all inspired. Like, is there anything truly original anymore? We try our best, but
Yeah.
we're all inspired by someone. Like, someone can watch your comedy and be like, I know exactly who you're like, or I could tell who inspires you, or they listen to your rap music, or they read your stuff and they're like, I know who inspired you. Same thing with me. Like, I've had people say to me, you're like this guy. And sometimes the guy they tell me I'm like, I actually don't want to be like. I'm like, what? I don't want to be him.
Yeah.
Like, somebody
No,
told me once, and this isn't even like you remind me of somebody, like, oh, they're like, you remind me of John C. Reilly. And my ass, like, I was like, you trying to fucking roast? You trying to, like, those of you,
I think he's awesome.
Yeah.
he's hilarious, but
Mm.
as a man, I don't know, when someone says you look like somebody he ain't hot, he ain't a looker, okay? He's John C. fucking Reilly, all right? He's a great actor, but it's like someone calling me John C. Reilly. It's like, this whole getting into a whole nother topic, right? It's like when a woman, right? They talk about, like, don't fat shame. Lizzo's beautiful, right? Lizzo is gorgeous, right? And then as soon as you say, you look like Lizzo, then they're offended.
Yeah, they'll be
They'll be really
Yeah.
offended. Lizzo's beautiful. Okay, she's a bigger girl. Well, you can't call them Lizzo because that's offensive. But that's like me, like John C. Reilly is a very talented guy, but man, fucking John C. Reilly. He was great in Step Brothers. Like,
I love that.
Step Brothers is a classic. All right, that is a classic move. That is like masterpiece level.
He got a lot of other bangers too. So
yeah, what is it?
He's in anger management.
The Dewey Cox, is it the Dewey Cox
The
story?
Dewey Cox. Oh my gosh, that movie is hilarious.
Yeah, like those are classic. They don't make comedies like that anymore. And they're actually like, oh, it's crazy. I know I know, guys, I am off topic, but I'm just telling you, we're all inspired by people. Sometimes we don't know. Hopefully we're not jacking their style, too much. But again, the whole legal topic about inspiration is like, I've said it in past episodes where I've actually had one of my screenplays stolen from me, where someone made a movie on my plagiarized my project. They changed it around a little bit, but they used my project and made a feature-length film with other people out there. But people knew when they were, like, after the fact, once they, like, got to know me more or thought about it, they're like, this clearly was your work.
It's
you
horrible.
can tell there's a style. You have a style, you have a way. And that's why I tell everybody, if you write something, make sure you do some sort of copyright. Whether that's, and people think this is this long journey to get a copyright. What it is basically you publish your own work. You send a copy to yourself, to your email. You date it, because that is a postmark, your email of your own work. It's another form of copyright. And a lot of people don't do that. And then they're like, well, who am I? Someone might read your work and think it's the best thing ever written.
Yeah.
And nowadays, people grab dog shit, wrap it in a bow, post it on, one of these self-publications like Amazon, and they can get a bestseller instantly.
Absolutely.
With your work. It's possible. So you just always want to protect yourself, whether it's a script, music too, like put it out there, at least save it. So like it's yours. And
for sure. You don't lose it forever,
or
I almost wonder, like, how many artists, and you got to look, there's got to be a lot of artists. I mean, artists that have made it, everything that have bent the rules or broken the rules, and because they felt that that was the way to go. Like, you know what I mean? There has to be, you know what I mean? I mean, all the actors and artists in the world, at some point in their career, they were breaking some rules, you know what I mean, to get to where they're at. They were like, you know, selling CDs. It's illegal. You can't just walk around selling. Especially if you're selling a lot of CDs. It's, you know, you're producing. You're supposed to get permits, you know, and all the legals behind it. You're breaking the law there. Going in and shooting movies in abandoned buildings. You're breaking the law. But the content that you got out of that, you know what I mean? It's the creation that you were able to create, you know, with those risks, you know, and at times that, you know, I'm saying I wouldn't do it different. I would have just done it the same way because I was able to get what I was trying to get out there, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Seems to be habit forming.
Yeah. You know,
It's a psychological, I'm telling you, it goes to a psychological thing because, you know, I filmed so many times guerrilla style. And then once you do get like the rights to be somewhere and you know you're in a safe, protected environment, you will never, the feeling is so much different. It's night and day. I mean, sometimes you can't do it, but when you can, it makes it that much better.
yeah,
I mean, when you know you don't have to look over your shoulder, like in the last
exactly.
movie, Where the High Ends, we filmed in some really questionable locations. However, we had full legal rights to be there.
Yeah.
No one was ever going to tell us, you guys got to get the fuck out of here. Or, you know,
Yeah.
cops come. The cops did come and they were curious because of some of the locations that we did have permits to be in. They were like, wow, that's really cool. But
Yeah.
there's also those other things that go through your mind when you're in places like that, like the dangers, like we talked about. Are we going to survive this? Or you won't realize in non-legal way how important a bathroom is when you're in some of these
For sure.
locations.
Go in the
like,
back, find a tree.
And that's like an ethical thing. Like you're asking some woman to go piss in a bush. It's different than telling a guy to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, you think about all those crazy circumstances when you're, you know, doing a project, but
yeah,
you know, I don't want to go too deep in the weeds because we got so much more to talk about, especially with our guest tonight. We got an awesome guest I'm excited about.
Yeah.
And you guys ready? You guys ready to go?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready. Let's go.
Bring them out.
Like Matt.
Right. So, without any further ado, okay, this guy is an actor, all right? He is an artist. He is our first ever magician that is going to be on the Blank Dive.
Oh, yeah.
I guys want you to give a warm welcome to the talented Mike Noren.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. And I'm honored to be the first magician.
Yeah. So, welcome.
Sure.
Night going.
It's going good. I really, you know, enjoy hearing you guys talk about all the crazy location shoots. You know, been there. And I really was into how you guys were talking about how sometimes artists or performers or whoever you might be kind of use something in a way, because as a magician, as you know, magic's been done for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Good point.
So I always, when I do a trick or a routine or something, I'll look at some of the greats who've done it and see how I can take what they've done, something simple as like a cup and balls routine, and make it my own. Because there's only, you can do the cup and balls all day, but you still have to make it your own in some aspect.
Absolutely. Sure. So you're inspired. You're inspired by that type of art.
Right. Yeah. So like some of my favorite magicians were a guy called Tommy Cooper. He's a pretty old magician. He actually died on stage and had a heart attack, and he was a comedy magician. So people thought it was part of his routine.
Like a joke. Oh.
Yeah. And he was always joking, like pretending to have heart attacks and stuff. So he was laid out on the stage and people were clapping and cheering. And
oh my God.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
I guess he got a standing ovation. What the heck?
Yeah.
Oh man.
You know what though? That's like a very poetic way to go. Like if I'm, I don't want to talk about death, but doing what you love is got to be, I don't know, it's up there.
Yeah.
It's either you die in the arms of someone you love, or you die doing what you love. I mean, that's the best way to go.
Right. No, like part of my like I don't know if you guys seen my magic routine. I think both of you have, but I play a character called the Amazing Mr. Mystic. And he's actually a dead there he is. He's a dead magician.
Wow.
So
You-
I pretend I'm a dead 1930s magician resurrected. There's me putting my makeup on. And that was in like August and it was an outside show. So I'm wearing grease paint and a tuxedo and it was terrible.
It's hot.
There's a huge emphasis on death in my routine because of these guys who died on stage in a way.
Yeah,
How do you feel
sure.
like, you do various different art forms.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how do you think being a magician inspires the other art forms, if at all?
Ooh, good question, because I do not blend whatsoever. Like the magician is his own. Well, the magician character, the Amazing Mr. Mystic, has been in a movie, and an upcoming movie, but it's always its own thing. Like art, my art is my art, acting is acting, and magic is magic. So I try not to really blend them too much. That way, it can kind of like have different perspectives. Like essentially, there is an acting aspects to my magic routine, but it's far different than if I'm like in front of a camera or something like that.
Is that
That's
why?
an interesting take.
What was that, Benny?
That why you wear the mask to differentiate the two or three?
Yeah, so the mask actually came about during COVID, like the lockdown. I just had these things called thermoplastic beads and I made like a mask. And I was like just messing around because I was in lockdown and I was really trying to change my magician character because my name is Mike and I always get the Magic Mike joke all the time. If anybody I tell magic, it's usually like, "Oh, Magic Mike." I've heard that one hundreds of times before. So I was like, I seriously, if like I want to do this, I can't be Magic Mike. I cannot be Mike who does magic apps whatsoever. So I kind of came up with this whole character like over a couple of years. He's like a mix between like Pee Wee Herman, Dracula, Beetlejuice, and again, I'm inspired by all these little things. And I'll go watch, old magic routines from, the 1930s and read about stuff like that. If I see a movie, I can't remember what it's called. It's like set in 1800s. It's about magicians. So I cherry pick things like that for that character. But definitely there's a huge separation between everything, all my outlets.
Now, hear
on
me out.
purpose. Yes.
Hear me out. So, Mister, you go out there in your magic outfit,
Uh-huh.
just wear the bow and no shirt with the mask on and just put a tip jar.
It's been requested. I absolutely got more, people are into the masked magician thing for whatever reason.
Yeah.
He's cool. People like him.
Yeah, man.
And he's the worst part of me. My magician character is mean, nasty, not nice to people, and that's nothing like me. It's like, okay, this can be me. It's comfortable. Like I honestly don't know if I could perform without my mask.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy. It probably is. There's some psychological stuff to dig on that, but without the mask, I don't do my shows. Like when I practice at home, I had the mask on because I do use the mask to perform some tricks. I'm not gonna tell you what, but
I'm big into like different artists like Slipknot and Marilyn Manson and stuff like that, and a lot of them say similar stuff with their makeup and their mask because it's freeing to them.
right.
Corey Taylor, when he puts the mask on for Slipknot, he says it's absolutely freeing. I could be this, primitive animal on stage that when I take the mask off, it stays in the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And it's able to let his rage out or whatever. But I've heard other artists, like I said, like that, who've used that to be able to do things that I guess society would look at as a taboo, or like you said, you're mean when you put the mask on, but it's also entertaining for a lot of people. You're bringing some joy,
Yeah.
And to get into that a little bit, do you ever think that, in this character, any characters that you play, that possibly breaking the rules or pushing the boundaries will often get you better results?
Absolutely, especially like doing magic. Like you have to kind of like push it a little because like I said earlier, like a lot of it's been done already. So you got to kind of push it in a different way, or just own it in some aspect. Definitely, you got to push. Like with my magician character, I'm always pushing the envelope. Like I said, my show is definitely not for kids.
What are some of the things that you've actually, as an artist, like question pretty much, is this legal, like what I'm doing, and how did it turn out? Like, because obviously you probably went with it, so
Right.
like how did it turn out? It's
that goes into like some of the acting stuff I've done. Some locations, I did a movie, Into the Dead of Night, where we were inside a church that was very dilapidated. I mean, I guess we had permission, but it didn't feel like it. It didn't have running water. It didn't have electric. It was in a town called Parksville, and we would film outside a lot. And it's an up-and-coming town. It was a little rundown and questionable, but usually every night, someone from the streets would come walking up to set or whatever, or cops would drive by. And I'm always looking at Mikey, who was director. I'm like, dude, are we okay here? We're good, right? Because we had prop guns a lot of the times too. So we'd be on the sides of the street, and we'd have people on each side of the road watching for a car or someone to come by. Because if we're outside holding guns that look very real,
oh yeah, that's
that
it.
could be
We've been there.
We've been there, done that.
Done
The
that.
last movie, I was robbing a grocery store, and I think people actually thought I was, because the way we just had crowds of people. I mean, you were there the night. You were actually, I think you were there the night when you were pushing on my car, or maybe it wasn't that night, but I was holding a gun.
Yes.
Running in the grocery store. Yeah, like pretty crazy.
So yeah, stuff like that. The gun stuff always kind of like put me on edge. Like always, because if someone sees you with a gun, they're gonna call the cops. And I don't know how good we can explain, oh, they're just fake guns. I mean, sure, they're probably not gonna bust their balls too much, but
you never know. Yeah,
you never know. Nowadays, you just had that shooting on the set of Rust a few years ago with Alec Baldwin. The Crow movie set, where there's just accidents that happen on set. That's why even though things might be legal, as like you might have a permit to be there, also environments are very dangerous. And if things aren't looked at in the right way and the right people aren't looking at stuff, things can get mishandled. Like if you get a malicious person on set, not saying that they're that often, but to trade the prop weapon with a real one.
Yeah, I would always double check the gun. Just, I trusted everybody there, but just for my own sake, I would always relook at it. Even if I set it down to get a drink of water. And if I ever pointed a gun at somebody during like filming, I would always talk to them beforehand and be like, are you okay with me pointing this like shotgun to the back of your head? Just so there's some kind of comfort level. Because I had one person, there was an extra who said, I don't want a gun pointed at me. Then I was like, we're like, okay, you're kind of in the wrong movie if you don't want guns pointed at, because this is a heist movie and you're a hostage.
Yeah. That's why, like I said, the director in a lot of these projects or whatever, they always have to be clear with what is happening on set. Because I have a lot of conversations with filmmakers with the film festival and stuff, and I've had really questionable things that have been told to me about putting people on edge on purpose, like where they didn't know something was going to happen per se. And I'm one of those people that don't agree with that. Like, you could do crazy things, but you always have to be upfront, because we're not in the business or, the authority of putting people at risk or making them feel like unsafe, or, they're going to have trauma after this. Like, you're going to bring up, you know what I mean? Like, for example, like I had a director tell me that, he strips completely nude. This is a foreign director. He strips completely nude, and if he's not aroused, he just keeps on making them do retakes. We're not talking about adult films here. We're talking about a horror. We're talking about a horror project. Did the actresses sign up for that? And I would question the integrity of the actress if they continued. Like, why would they continue this, like, kind of assault? Because a lot of times there's that power play. And I worry about that too, where people do things because they think it's going to further their career, but at the same time, they're putting themselves in harm's way or trauma, or it's crazy.
No, that's a good point. Like, thank God the director of the movie I was in didn't do that.
I want to actually show a clip. So here we go, guys.
Okay.
Watch a little clip of Into the dead of night.
One night was all they needed.
Let's just get in there, get the money, and get out. Nobody has to get hurt unless it's absolutely necessary. I don't have time to be in there praying all night. Let's put on our happy faces and do this thing.
But it's beginning to look like one hell of a night.
That's crazy! I know!
If they want to survive, they have to fight back. So let's pray into the dead of night.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was good. Looks
I
a little
actually got to see
action
that.
packed.
It is. I actually got to see this. I think on premiere. I don't know if it was the premiere night, but I did get to see it. It was an awesome full house. Amazing show. Yeah, they put on a hell of a performance. I was laughing my ass off. I remember I had a conversation with Mikey, the director, and I was like, "You sure you want to do a film like this?" You know, because I know he's into like the blood and gore, but when I actually seen it, it was so much more than I expected. And I told him, I said, "Really proud of you," because it's actually ironic that Mikey was one of the first people I've ever worked with almost 15 years ago on my very first film, The Factory. He was this young guy who wanted to do makeup for my film. And that was a pretty gnarly makeup stuff that he did in that film as well. But I remember the first day on set, I was nervous as hell, and he certainly was too, because he accidentally dropped the jug of blood all over my cinematographer's hand-woven carpets in his house. And he bugged the fuck out, and he was like, "Who the fuck did this?" And Mike was like trying to like, get a paper towel. But it's been a long time, so it was amazing to see that come to life. And you did great in the movie. You were very entertaining.
Thank you. That was my second acting role next to Little Women in high school.
Hey, you know what I mean? Like, it's never too late to get involved in film. You could start at any time. I mean, Alan Rickman started in his 40s.
Yeah,
and
Mikey
became a legend.
Yeah, I think Mikey posted on Facebook, and I think I liked it. And he goes, "Hey, I saw you like my post. Do you want to be an extra?" And I was just like, "Sure." Then somehow I ended up getting the lead role. I don't even know how it came about, but it just did. And it's like definitely one of those trust the process things, because I think it took maybe 2 years or so of different reshoots and coming back, because you've seen the movie. If you watch real close, you can see there's like points where some of us lose a little bit of weight, gain a little bit of weight. There's one scene where I was like working out for like 6 months straight, like really heavy. Then I'm in a t-shirt and my arms are like, a lot bigger than the 5 seconds before and stuff like that. So it was such a cool process. Like looking back at it now, it drove me crazy, because we would shoot from like midnight to 5 a.m. Or actually, no, we would get there at 7, and from like 7 to 4 or 5 sometimes. So it would be like a 10-hour shoot a lot of the times in the middle of the week.
What was that, Benny? You went out.
You'd be up late though. 5
Oh yeah, and I'm not a night owl. I'm usually crashed out by like 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
So Mikey would use that too, because my character is like on edge the whole time. So I'm just mentally burnt. And he definitely admitted that. He was like, "Yeah, I knew you were miserable and being a prick, so I would push you to do that." Speaking of, directors doing that, but it wasn't in a malicious way. He just kind of saw how I was vibing and used it.
Yeah.
Mike's very creative, and he's a great artist too. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's always thinking of the next big thing, and I love that, because often when people get involved with these, larger than life features or whatever, they get kind of like, it's very easy to like fall off, like where, it didn't take off right away, or I'm not a millionaire yet. We always talk about this, but he keeps on pushing because he just loves to do it. And if you find people that love to do the same thing, you're not worried about taking those risks, and I'm a firm believer of it. Take a risk, you get what you want. But has there ever been a risk to you that you think that at the time you're like, this, you weren't sure if it was going to pay off in the end, and then you were surprised?
I guess I could say the movie in a way. It wasn't really a payoff for me though. It was more of like I don't know what the feeling was like. It was just one of those things I never imagined myself doing. I did it, and I was like nervous the whole time because there was actors who've been in a lot of movies and on stage stuff, and I was in this lead role, so I felt like I had some kind of obligation to really, give it my all. And I guess other times where I've like been like, worried to like do things is like, I'm actually going to be hosting an art gallery in May in Monticello for just a weekend thing. And that's something totally like I've been drawing into art for years and years. And now this is actually a series of like, I never thought my art was good. Like I've always been very self-conscious about it until one day I was just like, I'm just going to go with it.
I've been there before. I know what you mean. I do drawings and stuff, and the trying to get it a certain way and it's not coming out that way is one of the most frustrating things ever.
All right. Yeah, and these were some clay sculptures I did back in the day.
Nothing wrong with that. Nice.
Green thumb.
I throw those up on a little countertop, little decorative pieces. They're nice.
You always have like some sort of art bug in you, like creative.
I always do, yeah. Always creating and doing something with it, whether it's like with clay or these drawing series. The series of drawings, I just call it like the adventure. That was very personal for me through like going through a period of, my life over the past few years alone. Mm-hmm. And, reflecting on some stuff as like, as a younger person growing up. And it just was a very personal art series to me. When I would do that, there was always a song or a movie. So the one that looked like it was kind of Christmassy, that was inspired while I was watching like Batman Returns. So like that, one more back, it was kind of dark out. Right there. So I was watching Batman Returns, and that's like a Christmas type movie to me. And I was like, all right. And I just kind of had that on. The Christmas tree was on, just had one little light, and I was rocking out to this. So that's, for some reason, Batman Returns is like very personal to me.
Yeah.
And I put that into like art in a way. And the other one was the Mary Poppins inspired, one, because that movie's, close to my heart as well. So a song or a movie is definitely very inspired to the art from different periods of my life.
That's amazing. It's interesting to see how someone can transition from a musician to someone, putting up stuff for an art gallery, to act in someone else's project. Like, is there any other type of art forms that you would say, you know what, I want to take a risk, I want a job, I want to dive into this next?
Actually, like writing. I've been writing a movie script. It's called I Love You to Pieces. And it's about a guy, it's like a Frankenstein monster-esque movie that involves, it's also, so when I make something, like I said, it's always inspired by something. Like I Love You to Pieces, I love the old, Universal monster movies. I love Scorsese movies. And, and I don't like rom-coms, but it went kind of along the route of a rom-com because I don't like rom-coms. So I was like, I'm going to make a rom-com that I would like type thing. Mafia monster rom-com. That's basically what, I Love You to Pieces is about. And that's something I'm writing.
That's a cool idea.
Well, yeah.
And essentially going back to magic, I can't stand magicians. I think they're the biggest pricks in the world. No offense if any magicians listen to this, but magicians are awful. And I became the magician that I like. I was like, okay, I would like this magician if I was not me, but I am me. But what I'm, so it's like you make stuff. It's like you make it. Don't make stuff for people. Make it because you like it, and it's what you want to see.
Out of all your different, styles of art, which one do you enjoy the most, and why? Why is that? Why do you enjoy it the most, and which one is it? Is it the comedy or the writing, the drawings?
I think comedy. I always had a knack for comedy. Like, my parents will always say, ever since, you were young, we're always going for the punchline and, some kind of humor and something like that. So that's always been like definitely close to my heart is like comedy type stuff.
Yeah.
So you talked about hating other magicians, right? How do you feel about magicians, right? That go against the world, right? And they show people behind the curtain of their trick.
I hate it so much. Like if I'm on YouTube and it's like, see how so and so does this trick, even if I don't like the magician, I will report that YouTube video. And I know it probably gets no response whatsoever, but I'm that petty. Like I report every single one I see come up on my feed, whether it be Facebook or Instagram, because it's our art. It's not your art to expose. Like you said, you don't like people posting, behind the scenes photos or pictures, like whatever. I mean, some are cool, but we shouldn't ruin someone's art. I mean, I guess, coming with like YouTube and all that, people like, I've learned magic through YouTube, but I wouldn't expose it. Like if it's someone breaking something down and being true about it and not exposing it, I'm okay with it. But if you're just exposing it just to kind of like take the piss out of somebody's act and character, I don't think that's cool.
Destroying an art. That's what it's
destroying
doing.
It, yeah.
It's destroying an art, yeah.
I used to love watching like David Blaine on TV and stuff like that. I went and got the whole magic kit, actually.
Yeah, no.
But like, it seems like, do you feel like magic is kind of fading away?
Yeah, that's why I don't do kid shows. So my first outing as the Amazing Mr. Mystic was a kid show, and it was, I think, what's this? The stonemason guys, with the little hammers and stuff. They don't carry hammers, but someone from that organization asked me to do a show for them. And
Freemasons?
It was like Freemasons. I was thinking of the Stonecutters from The Simpsons, but the Freemasons. And they're like, will you do a Halloween? We're doing a Halloween event, touch a truck, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, sure, yeah, I'll do it. And I prepared for this show for months. This is my first outing as the Amazing Mr. Mystic. So I get there. Turns out it's at an airport, local airport in Ellenville, outside. So I'm like, well, shit, I do tricks that involve fire and the wind's blowing. It's at an airport. It's an open field. And it was just a nightmare because while I'm doing these tricks, you have kids of all ages saying, I saw how he did this on YouTube.
Yeah.
And one kid had like a phone and he would pull it up on YouTube and like, look, this is how he's doing it.
Horrible.
Like, this sucks. I said, this is awful. And that there was another, chance for me to like, it sucked, being booed by children, but that was a moment where I'm like, all right, F these kids. I'm just going to do shows for adults who kind of, I guess, appreciate this.
Fuck kids.
Yeah. I won't. I will not do a show for kids ever again. People are like, oh, will you do one? Like, no.
It's funny that you said that. Like, people think I'm nuts, but going back to the film thing is they're the hardest critics you can ever have is kids. So like, a lot of people are like, oh, I have my granddaughter and, oh my God, my son's so cute. You'll love to be in your film as an actor. Nope. I try to avoid it at all costs. Not saying I won't ever, but I've had some really challenging not legal, but like there's a lot that comes with having a kid on your set.
Oh yeah, big time.
Their parents. I will not film without the parents present. Sometimes parents are like, babysitter, drop their kid off on set. No
way.
I've had that happen where like someone left their kid on set and like time was going by and I was like, where's their parents? I mean, we got to move locations. Like, where's their mom and dad?
Yeah, a lot of kids don't have filters, man, and they're just too honest with things sometimes, man. You're like, yo, kid, you're ruining my whole show. Like, it's terrible.
You got to be a special person, to work with somebody else's kids or put on a performance, try to entertain them.
And I do work with kids professionally, so I'm like. But the thing is, I'm not doing magic tricks for them. And people have asked, like, oh, you could do magic tricks. Like, nope.
You don't get the joke, you fucking idiot.
I know. I said, yeah. I said, I'll let your kids watch me eat razor blades and pull them back out of my mouth. Connected.
Chris Angel.
Yeah, but that was probably my worst show ever. But that moment there kind of was a life lesson for me.
Benny, you guys
know
have
your
this
crowd.
similar thing too with the audiences. Because you guys doing these live shows, you guys got to feel it with the live audiences, like either feeling it or not feeling it.
Yeah, you sometimes just go out there and do what you know how to do sometimes. Like, do you ever feel that way, Mike? Like you
Yeah,
just
you play the hits, I guess. Like,
yeah, you give, or you give like, this is my set and I'm gonna stick to it. Like
mm-hmm.
sometimes you can feel the room, like they're like, oh, they laughed harder at this one, and I'll start sticking to that subject more. And then sometimes I gotta go out there and just stick to it because it seems like a dull crowd or something like that, or you don't know the crowd that well.
Right. Yeah, that happened to me recently. Back in November, I did a show for a theater group, and I was like, oh, this is going to be an easy show. They're a theater group. They're going to love it. Nope. Didn't like it. So I was like...
They are sometimes the worst critics, the ones that are like in the groups, like, oh, this is a comedy group, this is the theater group. Sometimes they're like, you're funny, I'm funnier than that.
Like, right, yeah. Because I've been approached to do comedy shows.
There's so many different, like, for example, sometimes I watch like hilarious comedy, well, at least I think it is, and I'll watch it with somebody else and look at me and like, you're laughing at that? Like, I don't know what it is, but anyone know Nathan Fielder? He has a show on HBO. Hilarious guy. He has a show called Nathan For You, where he has really outlandish business decisions. I think he's brilliant, and they typically work out. However, they're the craziest routes to get there where you need to go. I think he's hilarious. I love Seinfeld. Some people watch that and they're like, this is trash. But there's just a different type of comic for different people. I mean,
yeah, subjective, like very subjective.
What's the
or
deal?
Mood. Or I think it's or mood too. There's people that go up there and they just try too hard. You ever see a comic going up there and he's like rolling on stage? You know, like pulling like the Jim Carrey stunt. I mean, Jim Carrey's hilarious, but I mean, there's just, to me, it just depends on the person and the mood you're feeling at the time. Either you're feeling them or you're not.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we've all tried too hard before. Like, I know I've tried with that terrible show I did with those kids. I tried too hard. It was too big, too much, and I was like, I looking back on it, I'm glad it happened. I'm glad it went bad. It's like
you got to.
losing in a sport. You know where you got to improve on yourself.
Absolutely.
Now, Mike, did you get paid for that?
Yeah, I did, but honestly, depending on, a lot of times, don't tell anyone, but I normally don't charge for a show now. Like, sometimes if someone's like, hey, can you do a show for me? I was like, I'll just do it because, I don't know, I feel like if I charge, they're going to be expecting something else. Versus if I just show up to your brewery or your theater and rock it, I do better. I don't know. Like, there was a show I did a few years ago on April 1st with my mentor magician. His name was Jack Trades. He was also a wrestling promoter. But we did two shows back to back at a theater, sold it out both times. Neither of us made a dime, but we brought the house down each time. And like, anytime I've done a paid show, I feel it's different going out there. Like, I have to give them something else than what I want to give them.
There is a different expectation when money is involved. And I can say that with the last few films that I premiere, a lot of times with the cast and crew, of course, they'll get tickets into the film or whatever, but I normally charge because the venues are a lot of money, you know, so you'll typically charge the general public. And I gave away so many tickets to the show for free, and a lot of people got in there for free. And I'm not even going to lie, some of the worst critics I had, you know, the people that had the most shit to say were the ones who got in free, unfortunately. And that is true. I couldn't believe it when I got people like writing either a bad review or giving me that criticism that I really needed in the moment. They would tell me when they got in their whole family for free. I was like, fuck you.
Heck, that's gross.
You know what? It does happen. It does. So like, and I've given the world out to people, and I'm actually starting to, at this stage of my life, be like, you got to know your worth a little bit, because sometimes you give away everything. And it's funny because like for my book event, I was giving away books. I was, good at putting packets together for people and handing them out, and candy, and having a spread of food. And then it was like finger foods. And then at that same event, when I invited like a bunch of people, this guy messaged me and he goes, "Does it come with lunch?" I looked over at my fiance at the time and I said, Did you just hear what he said? He asked me if it came with lunch. I literally gave him a free copy of the book that the event's at a free event where there is tons of finger foods. It's not lunch, but it cost me money. And everybody walked out with a gift bag. And it was just crazy, like, to me, because people want it all. And that's why I said you can never impress everybody, so you might as well just get some money. If you can. If
I sell merch. I sell merch at shows, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I get why you do it too. I mean, it's actually kind of smart. You know what I mean? Because you almost set the expectation. And you're like, I'm not going to accept nothing, and then you go out there and you perform your best, performances, because that pressure is not on you. You know what I mean? You don't got to worry about that pressure of, I'm paying this guy that much, and he's not performing right. I mean, that's a big relief of pressure. And then you got your merch. You got your merch table set up, and it's a good move.
It is.
It's a good move to begin with, at least. It's a good move. Maybe down the line you could start, collecting.
I do want to put on like a oddity show. I have a friend named Zeke who I've acted with before, and him and I are always rolling around the idea to do like a oddity show of fire breathers and magic and sword swallowing and stuff. If you guys know anyone, or if anyone's listening, hit us up. And this one, but going back to like the critiques and stuff, the last time I got a good critique that made me laugh was I was doing a magic show, and I always like to come at the entrance music, and I always pick a different song depending on the vibe. So this was at the Black Library, and they're like, "Do you want entrance music?" I was like, "Hell yeah!" I said, "Play the song Chris Benoit." He used to be a WWE wrestler. I said, "Play his entrance music." And if you do a Google search, you know what happened with him. And immediately when the music hit, you just heard everyone gasp. And I was like, hell yeah. And they were into it. One person was like, he killed his whole family, right? I was like, yeah, but how about that crowd reaction?
Yeah.
And on that note, so I think we had a really awesome conversation. I think it was a lot of fun. And we definitely would love to have you again.
Absolutely.
But, thank you, Mike, for all your talents, and I hope we get to work together again. And you never know, you might be starring in the next movie. Who knows?
Make sure to know. He's great guy.
Oh yeah,
check your stuff out, man.
Can I pitch my Instagram?
No, absolutely.
All right, so go on Instagram and type in the Mr. Mystic, all one word, and you can see my arts and magics and antics.
Awesome, guys. Hear that, people? Make sure you follow.
Yeah, the
absolutely.
Mr.
I'm gonna go check it out tonight.
And look, he's here with us now.
That's it. Heck yeah, awesome. Do it up.
All right, Mike. See you soon.
All right, fellas. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Have a good one.
So, guys, you've seen it. I hope you enjoyed this episode 6. Is This Legal? I think it was an awesome episode. We had a great guest.
Sure.
But I want you guys to make sure you're liking, subscribing, following, and make sure you're sharing if you're caring. All right.
Absolutely.
Episode 7, lucky episode 7 is coming next.
Let's go. Let's go.